Hi again, guys. All right, vocab time. Okay, turn to page 156. Page 156. All right, we're going to have two stories here. We have etymology and we have skiing. So I want you to pause the video. I want you to complete these two stories, just this page, and then turn the video back on. And we'll go over it together, okay? You don't have to send me a picture of this one, all right? So pause the video and do etymology and skiing. Okay, guys, so let's take a look at the first story, etymology. When we study the history of a word or its etymology, we learn of its beginnings and how it has come to be a part of our language. So etymology is the study of the history of any word, okay? So some of you might have been like, wait a minute, what's etymology? That's what etymology is. The word barrier, which we use to describe something that bars the way, comes from the French word barre. Dancers use bar to stretch their legs. Okay, so that's why there's a little girl there. A pretty scene is picturesque. This word comes from pictor, the Latin word for painter. Many English words are the result of the joining of two or more Latin words. For example, privilege comes from privi, the word for private, and lex, the word for law. The English word inquire, which means to ask about, comes from the Latin word querere. I'm not sure I said that correct, which means to seek. Both the English word predator and its ancient relative predator come from the Latin word, which means to seize or capture. I probably just tortured all those Latin words, so I apologize. I don't speak Latin. All right, skiing. I went skiing last week. There was a blizzard the night before, which left an abundant amount of snow. It was hard to conceive how I would make it all the way down the steep mountain without falling. Since that was hard to imagine, I decided to try an easier slope. No one would penalize me for being cautious, or penalize if you like to say penalize. Some ski outfits were so fancy that they made skiing seem as if it were a formal event. At the end of the day, we fell into a peaceful slumber by the fire. All right, let's take a look at page 157. Page 157, we're going to talk about analogies. Now, we've talked about analogies multiple times this year in in spelling, in vocab. We touched a little bit in reading. So, analogies. You have learned that an analogy is a statement that shows how two pairs of words are related. The words may be synonyms or antonyms. Those are the ones we've talked about a lot. The words may also show other types of relationships. So analogies are going to show how two objects are related. Are they antonyms? Are they synonyms? Sometimes we've talked about putting them in categories, okay? Characterization. Here is an analogy with the word barrier. Barrier is to block, as bridge is to connect. In this analogy, the first word in each pair names an object, and the second word gives a function or a use for the object. So we have object and what it does. Object and what it does. A barrier can be used to block off an area, and a bridge can be used to connect two places separated by water. So if we're having an object function relationship, it's going to be an object and how it's used, okay, as another object and how it's used. The chart at the right shows some types of relationships that analogies can have. So take a look at this chart right here. Object function. So barrier is to block, as bridge is to connect. So it's how they function, okay? Synonyms, which we've talked about. Slumber is to nap, as drawl is to sketch. Those two words are synonyms, okay? They mean almost the same thing. Antonym. Formal is to casual, as picturesque is to ugly. So they're opposites. All right, those are the two popular ones that we've talked about, synonyms and antonyms. They're throwing in this new one, object function, and all it is naming an object and what it does. Practice. Match the word pairs to form a complete analogy. Write the number of the first pair next to the pair with the same relationship. So we'll do number one together. Small is to tiny. So small and tiny, how are they related? They're synonyms, right? So you got to find something that's the same on the right-hand side. And you would go with thin is to lean. So put a number 1 next to thin is to lean because they are synonyms. All right, you do 2 and 3 by yourself. Not yet, though. Let's go over apply. Complete each analogy with a word from the box. Then explain the relationship on the lines. So they're either going to be antonyms, they're going to be synonyms, or they're going to be object function, okay? So we have the words chop, notice, fly, and vibrant. They have to be on somewhere in these analogies. So number 4 we'll do together. Gloomy is to cheerful as dull is to, all right, well, before you answer, you got to figure out gloomy and cheerful. Is there anything like an object function? No. How about synonyms? Is cheerful the same as saying gloomy? No. So they're antonyms. So you have to look for an opposite of dull. So gloomy is to cheerful as dull is to vibrant. Okay. And then relationship, antonyms. And that's all you have to do for 5, 6, and 7. All right. So you have to do numbers 2 and 3, 5, 6, and 7, and send me a picture of those. Okay, guys? All right. I'll see you soon.